Welcome to a new year, 2021. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the main card fights for UFC on ABC1, Holloway versus Kattar. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the main card. So in our first fight on the main card, we have in the middleweight division, Ponzinibbio Soriano versus Todorovic. So you got a fight between two solid prospects right here, future contenders, maybe even, well, I'm not going to say title holder just yet. That's definitely jumping the gun, and I don't see that much potential in either of them just yet, but definitely could see them contending for titles, and definitely could see them getting up in the ranks and definitely being top contenders easily within probably this year, matter of fact. But definitely two studs right here. And it kind of surprised me that they're literally both one fight into the UFC. Both have one contender series fight, one UFC win, and they're being matched up this early on in their careers. It doesn't really make much sense, but sometimes they just got to test them. I guess they feel it makes sense, or I guess neither of them turn the fight down. But how I see this fight right here, both these guys are well-rounded. I think Todorovic is the better grappler, but Soriano's the better wrestler. Like, say, I'm saying jiu-jitsu-wise base. Soriano's definitely the better wrestler, so I think he'll have control of whether the fight goes to the ground or not. Better take down offense and defense. But Todorovic, like, as far as submission skills, I think his submission skills are much more solid and much more smooth, whereas Soriano looks like a little bit kind of clunky on the ground at times, but his wrestling and strength and in that area, takedowns, and that skills are solid, so I think he can control what if I go to the ground. So, and I don't think he's that novice on the ground that he can't neutralize some of Todorovic's grappling, but he does not want to be grappling too much with Todorovic, or at least maybe not trying to like do jiu-jitsu with him and grappling match. Maybe take him down and punch him in the face, maybe, but I don't see that happening either. I more so see him using it in the reverse and keeping the fight on the feet. And on the feet, I think Ponzinibbio, Soriano, I think both of them got heavy hands, definitely are heavy hands, but Soriano definitely have the heavier hands. Hands are definitely faster. And I think he's definitely sharper with his punches. I think Todorovic a lot of times just comes in with these flurries and kind of comes with these loopy shots at times, and gets on the inside and kind of just starts punching you up. But Ponzinibbio, Soriano, he keeps his punches nice, short, and tight, and very powerful, very fast. And I think that's what's going to be the difference. I think, yes, they both kind of have similar skill sets. They're both young and talented and all, but I think it's going to come down to the fact that Soriano's faster. Like, he's sharper with his punches, heavier handed, and quicker to the punch. Height-wise, I think Todorovic actually has a 1-inch height advantage over Soriano, but I think, like I said, I think it comes down to the shorter, tighter punches and the heavier hands of Soriano. And I think that's Todorovic. I don't feel like Todorovic has the best defense either. So, and then when I look at him go against decent strikers, he has not looked the best either. So, and kind of went to grappling or clinch stuff. And against Soriano, I think Soriano's going to be the bigger, stronger man, even though Todorovic is taller. I think Soriano's a physically stronger man, and I think in those areas, it's going to be landing heavy shots. When Todorovic tries to clinch up and try to dirty up the fight a little bit or try to use physicality in the fight, I think he's going to be in for a rude awakening. And I think, but I think it goes to a decision. It's going to be a back and forth fight, but Soriano's heavier punches are going to lean the fight to him. So in this fight, more shots, heavier shots, and that's what's going to lean the fight to him. So in this fight, I have Ponzinibbio Soriano via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the middleweight division, Buckley versus Alessio Di Chirico. And not even going to beat around the bush too much with this one. Chirico's a big, solid fighter, well-rounded skill set, but he's definitely over the years has become a fighter that's looking for that one big shot. And he's not that fast. He's not that technical. And no matter who you are, looking for one shot is not going to do you very well in any kind of combat sport. Like, you might get around for a little bit, but eventually there's going to be kind of come a journeyman. You might be able to knock out some lower tier competition. You might get lucky on some upper tier competition or some of the higher echelon competition, but looking for one big shot or limiting your output and just trying to cut people off, you got to put some volume out there. And just looking for that one big shot, not going to do it. So to kind of get to the point on this one, how I see this fight is, I think Buckley, though he's shorter in this fight, I think he's much faster, a lot faster, hits a lot harder, much more technical, much sharper on the feet. So he's the more technical striker, the faster striker, the harder hitting striker. I think he's the by far better wrestler. Grappling-wise, Chirico might have an edge, but in fact, I'm going to say grappling, fairly relevant grappling. So really everything relevant. Buckley has the edge. Maybe, not even maybe, Chirico does have a better chin. I will give him that. He has a better chin, but and maybe is, not saying he better chin, more durable, but outside of that, all it's gonna do is allow him to be a punching bag. I think Buckley has shown the ability to not just go out there and just swing shots. He knows to pick a time, just like in his last fight against Jordan Wright. He didn't just go out there and run through Jordan Wright. He waited, found his timing, cut him off, and then set a shot. He's not just a blind, moronic fighter who just goes out there and swings and hopes to land. He sets a strike. He might not be no Israel Adesanya, definitely not. Not even a Kevin Holland, but he's not a guy that just pure muscle explosion and no brain. He has a brain on him, and he's going to see those shots. So he's not going to just walk into no big shot from Chirico. And that's all I see is Chirico having a puncher's chance, or maybe a chance that he can endure Buckley's power and then take out a tired Buckley. But outside of that, I see Chirico as being a punching bag, and Buckley being able to beat him to punch early and often, and all through this fight, just being faster, sharper, and being able to tag him up. And I think he put some weight in the second round. I think Chirico, no matter how, I don't think Chirico's chin is that amazing or he's that durable. And I think he's too hittable, and he's waiting for too much and leaving himself opportunities. He's leaving, like he's trying to set somebody else up or wait for something, and all he really does is leave himself open to be hit. And you're gonna be the less technical, way slower, and less hard hitting fighter. I'm not saying he hits soft, but Buckley is explosive and hits harder. That's all I'm saying. So like that's going to get Styles going to set him up to be a punching bag, and he's not gonna be able to take too much of that power and explosion from Buckley. I think he gets put away quick and early in that second round. So in this fight, I got Joaquin Buckley via second round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the welterweight division, Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Lee the Leech Jingliang, or Jingliang. So really in this fight right here, I think the biggest factor against Ponzinibbio is inactivity. Will there be ring rust? Another thing, how would that ring rust affect him? Will it be a case of cardio issues? Will it be a case of range and timing issues? Will has the division improved in his inactivity? What has he been doing in his inactivity? Has he been injured? Has he been training? Or has he just been sitting on the couch eating pizza and Cheetos and Doritos and I don't know, whatever he wants to eat? But outside of that, I think this is his fight. I think stylistically wise, it plays against Lee Jingliang. Jingliang is typically a slow starter and typically starts the fights off getting rocked and dropped. And he got a little bit better over the past couple fights, but still, like, his pattern's still a rough start and then rally late. Oftentimes stopping his opponent or doing enough to win a decision. But most times it's kind of like stopping his opponent. But this has been a 3-round fight, which is going to probably put a leash off, starting off with at least a 1 or 2 round deficit in a 3-round fight. So if the fight goes to decision, he'll likely lose. So it's not the best style. Like, and Ponzinibbio is a quick starter, and he's a fighter. Unless you get off to a good start on him or beat him at the start, he's gonna beat you to the fence. So you give Ponzinibbio. Matter of fact, you don't have to give him. He'll take it. Like, you gotta take the lead from him early to beat Ponzinibbio. Like, say Lorenz Larkin. It was a very close fight, but Lorenz Larkin. No, in fact, it wasn't no close fight. He stopped him, but I say a close fight, but it was competitive. But you gotta get off to a quick start. You gotta beat him at the starting line, or at least stop him from getting that start off. You don't stop him at the beginning. Ponzinibbio's like he just like a buzzsaw. Once he starts going, you're not catching up to him because he's gonna just be in that lead, chewing you up, and it's hard to stop a chainsaw or a buzzsaw once it starts going. Like, you can stop it early, maybe. Even that's a dangerous proposition, but once it's gone, that's even dangerous proposition. You gotta be a buzzsaw yourself or a rock. Something, but I don't know where I'm going with this analogy. But either way, there could be a lot more I could say in this one, but I think really Jingliang's best chance is if the ring rust has affected Ponzinibbio that much. But outside of that, I think Ponzinibbio is the better grappler. Wrestling wise, I'm still not impressed with Ponzinibbio's wrestling. I haven't seen much of it yet. I mean, since his debut against Ryland Fairway, he looked embarrassing in wrestling. But grappling wise, he's a black belt in BJJ. Been working. I've seen some improvements against Mike Perry, but like I say, he hasn't been fighting the best grappler wrestlers, or at least implementing his jiu-jitsu and wrestling against the best fighters in those departments. So I can say he has made such an improvement since Ryan LaFleur, because he has not fought another solid wrestler since, or a solid offensive grappler as far as actually grappling, because he destroyed Gunnar Nelson, but the fight never even got to any type of grappling, so you can't reference that fight. Or I can say Neil Magny, but Neil Magny has been terrible against wrestlers and grapplers, so you can't really say Neil Magny. He's an underrated grappler himself, but against actual grapplers, Neil Magny looks mediocre in the grappling, so can't say that. But either way, Jingliang's not a fighter that really looks to take it to the ground. He's a slow starter. Ponzinibbio is a fast starter. Ponzinibbio puts a value on him, you give him that start, he's going to likely win. And that's all I need to really lean to Ponzinibbio. Like, I can say factor of ring rust, but I'm not going to lean to it. I'm going to lean to the fact that styles make fights, and Ponzinibbio is a quick starter. He's the more technical striker. Harder arsenal, hits harder, hits faster, higher work pace. And again, fast starter versus slow starter, and a fast starter that can maintain it, but not a fast starter that gasses out in the first round, but a fast starter, like, once he gets that start, he's going to likely beat you, and he'll carry that pace through 3 rounds and likely put you out or just push you up to a decision. So in this fight, I got Santiago Ponzinibbio via decision. Now on to our next fight, we have in our co-main event in the welterweight division, Carlos, the natural born killer, Condit, versus Matt Brown. I said his name kind of funny, Condit. It's Condit, but maybe I said it wrong again. But either way, we in this. We got 2 veterans in the game. A fight that should have happened like 100 years ago, but it's happening now. But still, it's going to get the fans excited, and it's going to be a nice, fun fight regardless. But both of these guys definitely have seen better days, and both of these guys, neither of them really going to challenge for any titles. I don't see that happening. So just have a fun fight for the fans for the most part, and try to at least have some hopes of even getting near a title shot, but I don't think we're going to have it for either man. But yeah, so you got 2 high-paced, exciting fighters. Both got brutal elbows, knees, kind of so creative and versatile, sneaky jiu-jitsu. I mean, not even sneaky. He got some solid BJJ. It's just his wrestling has always been mediocre, no matter how much he tries to work on it. But jiu-jitsu always been solid. That kid's fight and Damien might say something about it, but outside of that, his jiu-jitsu has always looked solid. And solid striking, creative striker. A lot of creative angles and setups to his strikes. Matt Brown on the other side is like, he's creative with his strikes and as well, and definitely got a lot better with his Muay Thai, like when he went on that run. Like before that, his Muay Thai was solid, but after that, I think he went to Thailand for a couple years, came back, was a whole much more improved fighter. So like, I think in clinch, Matt Brown was the better clinch fighter, but Carlos Condit's no slouch in the clinch either, so I don't think Matt Brown will be able to bully him around in the clinch too much. And I think Matt Brown on the other side, going to be 40 by the time fight happens. His chin is diminishing, whereas Condit, he's still durable. He's been losing to grapplers and submissions more so than anything, and Matt Brown's not no submission artist or no wrestler in this fight. I don't think if it goes to the ground, Carlos Condit will definitely have the grappling advantage in this one. So I don't see Matt Brown. I see more so the flaws being present in Matt Brown. Like he's a heavier hitter. He's a better pressure. Like, and that could be a factor. And I think he's better actually in the clinch. But like I said, Carlos Condit is no slouch in the clinch. And Matt Brown's speed-wise, Carlos Condit will have the speed. So when Matt Brown try to go for these clinches and stuff, I feel like Carlos Condit can hit him with at least 2 elbows before Matt Brown even hits him with 1. Hit him with 2 elbows, duck out, and get out of the clinch. That's how much speed advantage Carlos Condit has over Matt Brown. And Matt Brown used to have a solid chin but a weak body, and now he has a weak both right now because he's been getting dropped and rocked a lot more. And I feel like Condit can find that kicks to the body, hooks to the body, and it really throw Matt Brown's game off. I think it's a tough, gritty battle. But like I said, Carlos Condit being the veteran that he is, being versatile, having that speed advantage. Matt Brown hitting 40 is going to be a factor. And Matt Brown already having the weak body and now a weakened chin. I feel like Carlos Condit will be to target those areas up and get Matt Brown to react and allow a creative striker like Carlos Condit to slip strikes in and spin out and not get put against the cage against Matt Brown. Just being faster, younger by a little bit less worn, a lot more durable, and being able to, like I said, take advantage of the openings Matt Brown has and beat him into a highly competitive, exciting war of a decision. So in this fight, I have Carlos Condit via decision. Now to our main event we have in the featherweight division, former featherweight champion Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. So Kattar's on a tear coming up and getting close to that title shot. Max Holloway is coming off 2 losses in title fights against the current champion Volkanovski. Even though many feel like he won that fight, and I feel like he won that fight in his last fight, the judges didn't see that way, so he's not the champion. So Holloway versus Kattar, I don't know what the whole reason people say. Let me slow down a little bit. So I don't know the reason why people feel that Max Holloway is worn out. I don't get the whole thing. How you just go out there and you just picked apart the champ and made him like a scrub for like at least 2 rounds. Yeah, like 2 rounds definitely made him like a complete amateur for 2 rounds. And then lost a competitive decision. Another 3, well, as far as what the judges saw. Like, he won the first 2 rounds clearly. If it was like boxing, those would both be like 10-8 rounds or 10-7s even. Or any other striking or combat sports, that would be like a 10-8 at least for both rounds. And he would have won regardless. But because MMA don't score knockdowns don't dock a point for drops, it was the only reason that Volkanovski won by that looks. And I feel like over time that's going to change. So looking back, that'll probably be a fight. Holloway will win regardless. But because of current standards of judging MMA, being dropped don't count as a instant dock of a point. He won that fight. So, but either way, let's get to the point of this one. I think Kattar is 2-3 years older than Holloway. So, people act like Holloway's so old, or I don't know what they're thinking about, or what they're assuming just based off 2 losses. Well, in the 3 losses because of Poirier, but the man's still a very dangerous fighter. I still think he's better than just about everyone in this division and can beat everyone in this division. So, when I look at Kattar, another thing, let me mention another thing about Kattar. A lot of people say, I don't know, whatever, like Dan Hardy mentioned that he feel like Kattar's a faster fighter. I don't think Kattar's all that fast. You look at, even look at, like, matter of fact, you can pull up fight matches right now, and then Kattar on average gets hit more than he lands. So somebody that's so fast, why is your average of strikes landed in the Zord per minute? Why is your strikes absorbed per minute higher than your strikes landed per minute? I want to say it's because you're fast. I say it because maybe you're not as fast as people assume you are. Kattar's definitely not slow, but he's definitely not the fastest fighter. And his best asset is not one of his best assets is not his speed. I say it's his length and the fact that he focuses on longer strikes. He throws long ones and long twos. He gets full shoulder extension. And when you're long and throwing straight shots, of course you're going to beat people throwing hooks. It's not because you're faster. It's because you're throwing the shorter strikes in a way. I'm saying they're long as far as the length of the strikes. But like the window, you know how that, like a big hook, you got that whole big window down the pipe. Like somebody could catch you down the pipe with these long strikes. So you're going to beat people to punch when you're throwing a jab versus somebody throwing a hook, or pretty much somebody throwing bolo or a hook or anything like that. You're going to beat them to punch. If you got the long arms, oftentimes you're going to beat them to punch. You got good boxing, you got the footwork advantage or the lead footed advantage, you're going to beat him. And he's often the longer fighter throwing the longer shots, and he often has the foot advantage. It's not because he's faster, it's because he's in a better position and has better shot selection, or his shots are, the textbook shots that will beat most other punches, especially when you got the time and the range, and they also have the length. It's not because he's fast. Holloway is much faster than him, and I feel like Kattar, the reason why he has that deficiency, or he has that, gets hit on average more than he hits people on average, at least as far as overall fights, is because he's not that fast, and he's trying to find his range and find his time, and then when he gets in that groove, then he starts to land, and oftentimes he finishes his opponent. Oftentimes. And after that, he usually has taken a lot of shots. Whereas Holloway on the side, he has a significantly more lands than landed on him. But let me not get to the point. So how to see this fight is, I'm talking a lot, but how to see to get to the point, the nitty gritty, straight to the point of this one. I think Holloway is much faster. Well, not much faster. He's definitely faster. Not much faster, but definitely faster. More versatile, better timing, better boxing, a wide arsenal. When I look at Kattar, I feel like he does have a arsenal, but his main thing where you're going to see him is ones and twos. Very simple stuff. 1s and 2s. He keeps it bare and basic, and he's very good at it. He has a lot of power in that too. His jab is very long, knock your head back, and then he'll knock your head back with a jab, and then fire the 2 down and knock you out. He might slip an uppercut here and there, might throw an elbow, might throw a flying knee. Not the best with kicks, so that's another thing where I see Holloway's much better with kicks. And I could see if Kattar had kicks, that could be another area where he had great kicks or solid kicks. That's an area where he can affect Max Holloway, or if he uses wrestling offensively. But even then, Holloway has better wrestling accuracy and wrestling defense than Kattar. I think Kattar is better at scrambling and getting back to his feet, and he's not as worried about getting taken down as Holloway is. But in this fight, I don't see Kattar having much success with his wrestling. I think if anyone's going to have success in wrestling, I think it might be Holloway might mix it in and be sneaky with it. But I think it's going to be a striking match. I think Holloway's faster, more experienced, been in these 5-round fights way more, been against better competition way more, younger, faster, sharper, bigger arsenal, and can push a much higher pace than Kattar. Kattar can maintain a high pace. As a matter of fact, another thing about Kattar is he's big, he's physical, and he can push a high pace that most other people can't keep up with. But he hasn't fought somebody that like Holloway that can push that high pace and keep a high pace. Only people that have paces near Holloway, as a matter of fact, like Volkanovski and Edgar. And Edgar's at a lower weight class now. Outside of that, most people can't keep a pace like Holloway can. Maybe, matter of fact, no one outside of Holloway and Volkanovski by far have the highest pace in this division. Like Zabit has a good pace for 1 or 2 rounds, but third and beyond, his pace is trash. So, and Kattar has a good pace, but it's nowhere near Volkanovski or Holloway. So, like I say, faster, younger, more technical, more arsenal, could push a higher pace, more technical, and that's really how it comes down. I think it's gonna be a competitive boxing match and striking match, maybe mixing some MMA there, but I think in just about every edge, I think it leans to Holloway in this one. So competitive fight, but Holloway clean and clear, getting the decision, at least 3 rounds to 2, and I'm really leaning to 4 rounds to 1. So in this fight, I have Max Holloway via decision. And so that concludes my fight predictions for the main card of UFC on ABC 1, Holloway versus Kattar. And as always, thanks for watching.